Welcome back to the New Moon Podcast, where we talk all about success, growth, and becoming the very best version of yourself. I'm your host, Ali Marchand, and sitting across from me is Mr. Sandro Cazzato. Welcome, Sandro.
Hi, Ali.
Nice to see you today.
Also for me, I'm happy to be here with you.
Great. Sandro is a coach and sales expert who grew to manage over 50,000 people across Western Europe in just 16 months. Ever wonder how he could do that? Me too. So that's what this podcast is all about. Sandro has learned so much on his journey towards success, and this podcast is just to help give you a little leg up on your journey to success. Last month, we talked about a really exciting tool that Sandro uses in his coaching business to help manage and lead his team, grow his team, and help each one of his team members be their very best versions of themselves. If you haven't listened to the last podcast, to the last episode, I think it's episode 6. We are now on episode 7. I highly encourage you to go back. This will act as a part 2 of last month's podcast. So we're going to get a little personal today. Is that okay with you, Sandro?
Of course. No problem.
Last week, we really dove deep on what this personality test that you use in your business, how it works, how you use it to lead. But I want to really dig deeper into how it affects your personal life, and not just how you lead and manage, but your personal relationships with your colleagues, maybe with your family, with your friends. Can you share a little bit about how this personality test is so unique and helps you in your personal relationships as well?
Of course. So that was actually my first thought when I did this test and this course, because I immediately understood how this test could improve all the relationships that we have, not only in a business context, but also in a private, personal context. Why? Because the second you understand who's the person you're communicating with or interacting with, you will automatically also adjust the kind of communication. And then it doesn't matter if it's now in the office or at home. If you understood who you are and who your counterpart is, you can avoid some kind of sentences, some kind of words, some kind of argumentations. Can you say that?
Yeah.
Argumentations, if you know that you're gonna just put even more fire to the discussion, for example. So it improved at 360 degree the quality of the communication within the relationships that I have.
Wow. And so for the people who haven't maybe listened to the last podcast, let's just go over a little bit about what this test is. It's a personality test, and you actually only get one of 3 results. You're either a red personality, a green personality, or a blue personality.
Exactly.
And each one of these has different traits and responds to different ways of communicating and different ways of goal setting differently. Is that right?
That's right. Actually, there are like even more variables, because we all have all 3 colors in us. Just what changes is the percentage of each color. So there are thousands of results that come out of this test. It's not just 3, or you can have different personalities, because it's not just important what your main personality is, but you have also like a subdominant and also a weakness of the 3. So this makes it special and like even more unique. And it's everybody has all the 3, but as I said, in just different proportions. Exactly.
Okay. And is it the case that maybe some red personalities don't get along so well with some blue personalities or some green personalities?
Yeah, I mean, we can just to give you an example. It's like a story. It's not in real life, but a blue personality is very fact related. Okay, if, for example, we are eating a dish and the blue personality notices that some salt is missing, he says some salt is missing. A red personality who maybe cooked this dish will take it personal, because that means that the food isn't good. And the red personality is always result oriented. So they want to be the best in what they are doing. So you're telling them, hey, your food is not good enough. And for sure, you're not the best cook on earth, you know? So they take it as personal. They take it as some kind of
personal
attack,
hit,
critics, you know?
Yeah.
So if I know this, I change the way of how I'm telling that maybe some salt is missing. I say, wow, the dish is amazing. Maybe a little bit of salt and it would be perfect, you know? So I'm saying the same, but
in a different way.
Okay, so at the end of the day, it's all a learning by doing, because you get to know each other better once you understand what kind of personality you are. And you start also improving your way of communicating, because people, when they talk, they are not talking consciously. They just talk. But to choose your words on purpose, based on your counterpart, based on what this word can generate, it's a game changer, because it's easier to open your mouth and let the words come out. It's more difficult to choose your words wisely, so that the communication partner that you are having in that exact moment is understood and also satisfied with this communication.
It's so true, isn't it? All we ever want to be is heard and understood. But when you think about how we communicate, and even I do this for myself, it's mostly trying to explain and tell the other person what I think.
Yes.
Whereas the better, more efficient way of communicating would be, maybe like you're saying, really understand the other person.
Exactly.
And where they're coming from and how they will hear you.
Yeah.
And then you'll have much more productive relationships and communication and businesses and friendships.
Absolutely. So I would say that the whole skill called empathy, it's being promoted very good with this system, because we really try to go in the shoes of the other one and try to choose the words and the sentences based on how the other person wants to hear them. So it's
wow. And you mentioned to me before we started recording that you're actually taking this into account with planning your whole strategy for your business, and you even have modules and all this stuff. So how do you take that then, communication, learning, empathy, and translate it into a business strategy?
Yeah, so we structured our courses that we are offering with this structural method in a way that, first of all, you get to know yourself and what drives you. Second module is about learning how to recognize your counterpart. Even though we say that the ultimate is always to do the test so that you know who's your counterpart. So if you're married, it would be funny to know what kind of personality your wife has, just to improve the peace level in the house. And third course is about communication and negotiation with this person. Give you an example. I'm sure each and every single of us, when we walk into a store and the woman or the guy working in the store comes and asks us, "Can I help you?" The first thing we say is, "No, thank you. I'm just looking a bit." Okay, this is like
Can
standard.
confirm. That's what standard. I do.
Okay, so basically that's typical, because we just want to go and check a bit and see if we manage to find the stuff that we wanted to find. It's like we want to do it by ourselves. What many people don't know is that there is one category of the tree, which is the blue one, that goes only in the store to ask specific questions which will lead to a buying or not buying of the product. Maybe they just looked it up online. They really just to get the last confirmation. So you can assume that a blue personality will never tell you, no, I'm just looking a bit. They are coming to your store on purpose to ask you one question, two questions. And when they get the answers, they are going to decide buy or not to buy.
Mm.
The cool thing is that when you provide the answers and the blue one decides not to buy, I recommend you, I'm blue, so I recommend you not to try to sell it anyways, because you risk that this person will never come back to your store. So I just told you how to identify a blue personality when people walk into a store.
Yeah.
So that's basically the importance of knowing how to negotiate or even talk, communicate with a person. To make it like even more made to measure for our business, we developed 3 additional modules, which are the advanced modules. The first one is how to be a good leader, how to create a powerful team. And the third one, it's all about soft skill, which is at the end of the day, after hard skills, which are the competences that we need to develop on the job. Soft skills are all the things that you cannot see and you cannot touch, but they will make the difference.
Hard to teach those soft skills,
yes,
right?
Yes, very hard. And actually, Structogram managed to certify this module in managing soft skills with Structogram.
Wow.
Yes.
Incredible. So you mentioned 6 modules.
6 modules, exactly.
That's incredible. I mean, taking something like a personality test and actually organizing it in a way that's that you can repeat and organize into a process is not an easy task.
No, it's not. It's not. Because, I mean, doing the test and knowing who you are and what drives you is like a starting point. But
what you do with it.
What you do with it, because I can promise you the weeks after you have done the test, you'll ask yourself so many questions and you'll need to be ready to process these questions and to put them into action. Because if you do the test and you stick to what you were doing before,
what good is the test?
It will just lead to confusion in your head.
Yeah.
And maybe you will feel even more unsatisfied because you know now who you are and what you want to do that makes you feel good, and you stay in the situation that you are right now. So with these 6 modules, we give you our hand to support you and to guide you through finding what's the best for you and how you can express the maximum of your potential.
I see. So the 6 modules are kind of like, okay, you take this test. What do you do after you have those results? And then what you're saying is you take those results and you put them into a plan, into action with these 6 modules. And that's how you're going to actually leverage these results instead of just knowing them and maybe having it make you even more frustrated because you know sometimes that you're not on your path.
Absolutely. So we show you how to do the best for your personality.
Wow. And in these 6 modules, and what you would suggest to someone who's done this test, are there like writing exercises, speaking exercises, practices that people can implement? Can you share one tip from the modules? Like what are the actionable things that come out of this?
So actually there are different exercises, very practical ones, especially when it comes to team building, where we show with some practical examples how to communicate with your team in a certain way, to how to fit, how to create a good team, how to create proportions within the team. It's a mix of written exercises, of group exercises. It's in some ways it's also very funny because people have like many aha moments, wow moments where they really understand. Because I tell you, Structogram doesn't give you just the keys for your future, but it gives you also the key to understand why you behaved in a certain way in the past, why you took some kind of decision,
Yeah.
why you chose this instead of that. So it's a beautiful journey, because yeah, you will understand many things down the road.
Wow. I think it takes a lot to face yourself and be honest with yourself. And it sounds like this test is like, you can't lie to yourself with this test. You
No.
have to look in the mirror and you have to take yourself for what you are and accept your strengths, accept your weaknesses, and then make a plan to move forward. It's what you have to do in life anyway. But it sounds like this test is just like putting you in front of the mirror and saying, face it.
It's complete nonsense if you start to do wrong things. I compare it to go to relationship therapy and you're not honest during the therapy. Stay at home and don't lose your time.
Yeah.
And it's the same with this test. We know for sure that 65% of all the people are not happy and satisfied in their jobs. And there is a reason for that. We spoke during the last episode. What are the 3 needs that need to be satisfied? Somewhere you will find the problem in one of these 3. So when you find it, it's good that you're honest with yourself. I had to do it as well. I said in the previous episodes that I used the COVID pandemic time to reflect and ask myself the right questions. I did this even before I knew about this test and this method. So for me, it was like a natural process. Now that I have even a confirmation coming from these tests, from the biostructure of every single person, I can tell you that being honest with yourself is the only way to come out of a certain situation that you don't like. And thanks to this test, you will know what kind of situation you're looking for to be happy and satisfied with you, with your environment, and with the project that you're creating.
Yeah. I mean, that's all we ever want, right? That's all any of us can ever want. But it sounds so easy, and yet putting it into practice, being honest with yourself, is one of the hardest things I think anybody can do.
You know what's the biggest problem, Ellie? That out there are so many theoretical gurus that give you like their advices and they tell you how exactly to do things. But today I know that if I don't know you first, I cannot give you the right advices. And I will never forget the master trainer that gave me the course. He took the example of a basil going to a cactus and to ask him how to survive in the desert. And the cactus knows exactly how to survive in the desert. He will tell him, go, stay in the sun, don't move. In the night, you will load yourself with water so that you can survive the next day, staying again in the sun. So the basil goes, and after the second day, he is like this because he followed exactly the advices of the cactus. So he goes back to the cactus, and the cactus will say, yeah, but you don't have the right mindset. You should improve this. You should stay a bit better, a bit straighter, a bit with broader shoulders. Nothing will change because a basil is not made for staying in the sun without water.
I love that.
And this was for me enlightening in a way that you need to create, or you need to find out which is the environment where you can be the best basil in the world.
Yeah.
That's the point.
I love that story, and it's so true. It's like if you are like a cactus, you will thrive in really stressful, heated situations. But if you're like a basil, not so much. You need that watering, that attention, that the sun, but maybe not as much as the cactus. Wow. So for you, it sounds like the pandemic sparked that. What do you see for other people, why they are motivated or driven to be that honest with themselves? What kind of sparks that? You mentioned the 3 things that make you unhappy. Does it just get to a point that you see that people are ready to make a change finally?
It's sad to say that very often something bad needs to happen in your life so that you decide to make a change. and it can be whatever, you know, it can be on your personal level or maybe even also on a business level.
On a global level, like the pandemic.
You arrive to a certain point where the situation escalates and you do something that you would never done if you would have been happy with the situation or in control of the situation. And I strongly recommend, if something like this succeeded to you, then use it as a turning point, as
your fuel.
Yeah, as the energy that you need to invest now to make this change. Because when someone is hurted, nobody wants to feel that again. So, and I hope that your alarm clocks will ring very loud with you, because that's what it is. It's our self-defense who says, hey, pay attention. You cannot go on like this. You need to change something if you want to be happy. So either you will listen to this podcast and you will take action right now before something sad or something bad happens to you, or sooner or later you will maybe experience something which won't be so pleasant, but that's then also a way to learn.
Yeah. I know you've mentioned it on past episodes that you don't love this idea that when all the leaders are talking about comfort zones and inside, outside, but to some extent it really sounds like, and I have found this to be true too, is that you actually need life to push you so far out of your comfort zone to realize what needs to change or what needs to help you to grow your comfort zone or get back into your comfort zone or something like this. Because if you are just staying so safe in your little bubble, there's no fuel to force you to change or to look in the mirror and say, I want something different. I want something bigger. I want something better. So it's almost like put yourself in those situations where you're forced to take a big risk or fail or see something different than you do every single day.
Absolutely. I mean, when you stay where you are, then there is no growth. I mean, you stay where you are because you know that with your existing skills and capabilities, you manage the situations. The question is, are you happy with it? And if you're honest with yourself, many people will answer no. So what are you willing to do to change this?
Yeah.
Are you willing to go the extra mile? Are you willing to step out, to learn new things, to fall and to stand up again? So it's a process. I mean, it's always the same. As long as we feel cozy and comfy and warm, this is actually an indicator that no growth is happening, that you're stagnating in the situation you are right now.
Yeah.
And that's why it's super important to be honest, because you can say, no, I'm happy. But at the end of the day, are you really happy with what you have, with what you are? And many people say no in this case. So
fascinating. So out of curiosity, have you had your friends take this test, or your family members, or any of those personal relationships outside of work?
Yeah. So I have friends who did the test. I found out that some friends did it already, and we didn't know it. So it was funny to exchange a bit. And also they told me that their life quality improved a lot after they did the test.
Wow.
Also in the household with their wives, for example. Because yes, as I said, I mean, when you are in a relationship and you know that your wife has a red personality, you won't be there and put like more gasoline on the fire. You know, you will try to calm everybody down, to use your words more wisely, to be kind. That's the way how you behave with the red personality, who likes, and I don't want to say who likes conflicts, but who doesn't hesitate to go into conflicts. So it's really fascinating, and as I said, it helps and improves the quality in the relationship.
Wow. Yeah, that's just all incredible. And this all is about kind of mindset, relationships, communication, and these modules that you've helped create are steps to take after taking the test. But are there other things that you think go hand in hand with this? Like, of course, we can talk about health or exercising or taking breaks or eating right or anything like this. Are there other aspects of life that kind of help you as you journey after taking this test?
So the code word is energy. I mean, when I know in what I can put energy and the big amount of result comes out, I try to be more selective in the things that I'm gonna do. Coming back to what we spoke in the previous episode regarding doing PowerPoint slides, if I know that it takes me 1 week to do 3 slides, I'm not going to do them. I'm going to delegate it. I'm going to give it to someone who loves doing it. Maybe I'm going to also pay this person for this when I can save so much time with it that I can dedicate my precious time to generating more business or more money or whatever it is. And if we talk about energy, that's exactly the point. If I learn how to invest my energy wisely, I also learn automatically how to save this energy to do other things. I'm sure many people would love to eat healthy, to work out. They don't have energy. They arrive in the evening exhausted. The only thing to do is to sink in their sofa and in their couch and watch yes, some series, you know.
Yeah.
So when you learn how to invest your energies correctly and wisely, then you will also know how to save energies to do the things that you would love to do, but today you don't have energy or time to do.
Yeah.
So it impacts really your entire life.
Wow. And how has this looked for you and your energy and your timing since you've taken the time, looked at yourself, taken the test?
Yeah.
How has it changed your day-to-day
So
schedule?
I'm a person, I don't want to say that I'm a perfectionist, but I tend to perfectionism in terms of I simply love high quality, and I prefer to perform some tasks myself, even if I'm not the best at it and I don't have time for it. And then this course showed me that I need to learn to let go and to be happy also with less quality in the beginning, because I need to give to the people who work with me or for me the time to grow into this and to achieve quality levels that I'm satisfied with it after this. So the whole process of delegating became a topic for me, and I started to delegate more and more and more so that I can dedicate my time now to really crucial tasks that have priority in the business, that give me energy, that create more result, more impact. And I think from a leading perspective, this was for me like the most important part, because what we have in common is the 24 hours a day. I needed this course to understand how to invest, to best invest these 24 hours to help my people, to support them, but also to create new business.
Sounds so valuable, because I think the number one excuse out there is, oh, I don't have enough time to do this. But we all have 24 hours in a day, and you have to look at your time. I mean, how much time, if you are honest with yourself, do you spend scrolling on your phone?
Yeah.
How much time do you spend sitting in front of the TV? Can you change 20 minutes of your scrolling time to reading or planning or thinking or being with your family or working out, right? There's so many things. And so I think this excuse of I don't have enough time is really what this test is getting down to. Like, maybe you just don't have the energy because you're putting time into things that aren't giving back to you.
That's it. And the point is, time management becomes automatically also a topic, because I noticed that if I focus on the tasks that I'm very well at perform, I become better, faster, and I can do more of them, because now I got rid of all these tasks that I didn't like to do, that took me too long, because I found also people who love doing them, so I give them the things to do. So
Yeah.
time is really something. And 80% of the people think only about money when it comes to energy. They think, no, I'm going to do this by myself. I'm going to save money. I don't hire someone to build some shelf, or I don't know what. I'm going to do it myself. I don't have $50 to give to someone. Okay. But a pro would come for $50. It would take him 1 hour and he leaves and you have the stuff. You invest your time. Since you're not a pro, you're going to invest 3 to 4 hours. You lose money because during this time you could have done something else that would have generated for you more money. So at the end of the day, we should think always like entrepreneurs and understand that time is money. So investing time means also losing money if this task could have been performed by someone else in a shorter time frame. So don't think only about the money that you're giving in that time. Think also of the money that you're losing because you are investing your time in something that you cannot generate new energy or new money.
Time is our most valuable asset.
That's it.
Well, Sandro, you know how we always finish these episodes? Let's hear what you're working on for the next 30 days over the next new moon cycle.
Okay, the next 30 days is one of the most intense phase of the year because we are in the middle of our 90 days run. Everybody's running, really. It's going to be an amazing month from a sales perspective, I'm sure. On the same time, we will start to train the entire team on this new method on Structogram that we are using. So it's also going to be an exciting time on the discovery of ourselves and what we really want in life. So I'm sure I'm going to have amazing stuff to tell the next time we meet.
Sounds incredible. And if anyone out there is interested in the Structogram or learning more about it, you can contact Sandro on his Instagram, which is
Sandro. You just simply replace the A with the number 7, which is my favorite number.
And if you send him a direct message, I promise you, he'll get back to you.
Yes.
If you have been enjoying these episodes, please subscribe on Spotify or Apple, the New Moon Podcast. Give us a like, share it with a friend, watch it on YouTube. All of those things help grow our community and our audience. And if you have topics or questions for Sandro, feel free to leave a comment in the review or message him on Instagram. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next new moon.